you're joining us via Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We'll get to you as we can. I think we're ready to get started now. The South Carolina Gamecocks. The Gamecocks are 33-0 and the #1 seed in the Albany 1 Regional. They advanced to the second round with a 91-39 win over Presbyterian. We're joined this afternoon, by head coach Don Staley and student athletes Raven Johnson and Tahina Powpow. Coach, if you would, please make an opening statement.
We're excited to move to the second round. Obviously, it's a familiar non-conference opponent, and we look forward to seeing the adjustments they'll make and the adjustments we'll make, and it should make for a great game.
Open up for questions just for the student athletes at this time. If you would raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone to you. And if you'd introduce yourself when you're asking the question. Take questions for the two student athletes. We'll start over on the right with Pete Acabelli from the Associated Press, who needs no introduction, apparently.
Tahina, what do you remember about playing North Carolina the first time around here this year, and how do you think that matchup will help you guys, or that experience can help you guys going forward?
From what I remember from the game is that they were physical, they were really aggressive, and they came out swinging first, and that took us a while to adjust, so we had to come out swinging first and punching first, so we just got to come out with aggression and be physical and just be who we are.
Go to Alan.
Alan Cole, GamecockScoop.com with Rivals. Raven, this is your second tournament you've played through here now. Does it feel different than last year? How do you kind of feel right now compared to maybe how you did it this time last year?
I feel very confident. I think me and my team feel very confident. So we're just going to take one game at a time.
The questions go to Chapel here in the middle front.
Hey, Chapel Fowler with the State for both players. Asked Dawn about this a few days ago, but Lisa Bohr has been a part of the program for so long. Do either of y'all have a favorite Boyer story or anecdote or that kind of shows who she is and how she helps you as a coach? Could be funny, could be serious, could be anything.
Raven, you want to take
Coach
that first?
Bohr is one of my favorite people that I like to mess with. I mess with her every day, and every day after practice, I always give her affirmation that she always do good no matter what she does. She can just be there. She just, her presence is good.
Tina?
There's been some great memories with Coach Boyer, but I just think it's funny when she gets us, to be quiet during our scout because we talk too much. She just be like, "Hey, Coach is talking," and then we just all giggle a little because she has to say it at least 5-10 times, and we still don't listen. But that's probably one of my favorite memories with Boyer because she always does that because we talk too much.
Let's go to the middle.
Evan Gerke with the Greenville News. For either of you, how does getting Camilla back and on the assumption that Bree comes back tomorrow kind of add on to the momentum that you guys already built with the first round victory?
Tina, you want to take that first?
Yeah, we're really excited to have Milla back. We missed her presence, but we prepared for it earlier in the season, and we did a pretty good job doing that. And we're just really excited to see her back on the court with us, and we miss her presence and can't wait to see what she does in this tournament.
Raven?
Yeah, what Powell said.
Let's go back over to Pete.
Dina, I know the job's not done yet, but what has this season meant to you? I remember, I think that video you and your dad posted about you coming back. He kind of touched on you rediscovered your love of basketball kind of there. Did you lose that a little bit, and has this experience here helped you regain some of that?
Yeah, for sure. I lost a little bit of it, but it's always going to be there. And this season's meant so much to me and the team. It's been very special. We were very proud of our journey so far, but as you said, the job's not done. We still got business to handle, and we just got to keep taking one day, one practice, one game at a time.
Go over here to the front.
Katie Barnes, ESPN. This is for Raven. Can you speak a little bit to what Tahina brings to your team, how she contributes, what she means to you all?
Tahina, she brings a lot to this team. She's a leader on and off the court, and she's experienced. It's no better way you don't want to learn from her. Just the things that she brings. She can shoot the ball. She can score at 3 levels, and she taught me a lot of things, like goes from slow to fast, like Coach tells me every day. and just think of the game in a different way. So I think she brings a lot to this team.
Back to Pete.
Defensively, nothing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just offense. Just-
T, again, another question. Obviously, you knew you could shoot the ball coming here. You knew you'd be able to, make shots from the outside. I don't know that you thought you were going to make nearly 50% of your three-pointers coming in this season. What does this team and the people they have on it how does that enhance the opportunity you have to take the right shots from outside and, the ones you're very confident in?
Yeah, no, when you play with these type of players who are really good at their job and play their role really well, it helps your game open up a little more and getting open shots and when to take them and when to take bad shots. And they do a really good job finding me in transition in a half court. So I'm really blessed to have, teammates like that just find me and knowing that I can knock it down for them.
Other questions for the student athletes? Seeing none, y'all can go back to the locker room at this time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You can stay, champ.
Champ not taking questions today, I don't think.
He said until he gets a nameplate, he's not answering any questions.
Raise your hand for questions for Coach Staley at this time. We'll start with Alan.
Just a housekeeping thing with Bree Hall again. Is there any change from yesterday's what you said? You still expect her to play tomorrow?
Yes. So she'll be at practice today, and she'll be moving around, doing her thing.
Pete.
Dawn, obviously, North Carolina gave you guys everything you could handle back in November, 2 years ago in Greensboro. It was tight. What is it about what Coach Banghart has done up there and the scheme she has to kind of thwart you guys a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think they changed their schemes for us. It's their way. Obviously, they're a really good defensive team. They do a great job at just keeping you from great scoring opportunities, high percentage scoring opportunities. They make you pay. And then they have a fast pace offensively. They move down the floor from a transitional standpoint, getting easy buckets. And then in the half court, they're just really calculating and methodical in who they want shooting the basketball. And they always seem to put their players in the right place so they don't really take a whole lot ill-advised shots. And if they do, they got rebounders. Utsby has a real knack for rebounding the basketball.
Go to here in front.
Hi, Don. How have you seen Tahina grow this season?
It's been,
Champ's only here so he doesn't get fined.
I think, wow, Champ. I just think that she's and I didn't know her before she came here. I think she's just very comfortable in her skin and giving us who she is. So I don't know if that's a growth thing for us. Just over time, she's really just peeled down her layers, and she's given us all of her in a short period of time. And that's what I truly like. That I think she's who she is. There's no changing. So I like the fact that she's given us, the depth of who she is, and that takes a long time. So, and I'm glad that we get to share one more year with her, so she can give us even more. I hope in return we're giving her what she's given us.
Go in the middle.
Coach, I asked Malaysia yesterday what her kind of welcome to college basketball moment was, and she pointed to that UNC game where she only played 3 minutes. How have you seen her develop both on the court and mentally since that game?
It was a moment in her young college career in which there hasn't been another moment like that. So it was a defining moment. It was a moment in which some growth took place because she's so used to playing. She's so used to participating. And in that particular game, I thought the things that she wasn't doing for us hurt us. And then the things that she could possibly do for us didn't work out for one reason or another. I mean, North Carolina plays a certain way. You're either going to be as aggressive as they are or not. And I just don't think she was as aggressive. So what she's learned is she's got to play some D. She's got to play some D. And she has taken it upon herself to play some defense. Her on-ball defense has, it's getting to the point where it's really, really, really good. Her off-ball defense needs a little bit of work, but for what she's been able to do defensively has been great in her young career. And she'll be a much different player. Obviously, she told me that because I kind of looked at her when it came to us having to play them and what took place. And she just said, I'm going to be different. And she will.
Go back around to Pete.
Dawn, you're going to, excuse me, leave here having played two teams that you've already played in the regular season. Do you like the way the brackets can be set up this way, where you are going to face some opponents that you've played previously this year?
I mean, I like it as far as familiarity. I also don't like it in that I like to play somebody else. Just the newness of it, just branching out with different challenges. Although North Carolina is going to be a challenge for us, no doubt about it. But it's cool because we got a scouting report. We can see how far they've improved. We can see some areas in which we can hopefully gain an advantage in how they've played. So it's pretty cool. But we were all ready to play both of them, like Michigan State and North Carolina.
Let's go in front here. Chapel.
Don, obviously injury plays a part, but for Adele to just be with the team in March Madness, how much does that help her down the line, what you say?
I'm super excited about Adele. One, that she was, it's a testament when a young person can not, like football players, they plan to graduate early so they can have early enrollment. When it's someone like, a girls basketball player, they have to be well prepared. And then when this came up, when her injury came up, we took a deep dive into seeing if she could actually get the coursework done to graduate early, and she was right there. It didn't take much, and then it does take some great communication and partnerships with her high school, who was prepared to allow her to do that. Her high school coach was great in helping us expedite it, and then for her to be around it is. For her, I would think is quite incredible, and we try to keep her involved in our scouting report so she has an understanding. Like before we played LSU for the championship, I asked the team, I'm just like, do y'all remember how, you know what the LSU does in ball screen action offensively? And there was a silence over the room. And Adele's like, yeah, they pop. And they pop. She's I can't wait because I equate her defensively to Aaliyah Boston. I mean, she's communicative, she's high IQ, she can move. I know she doesn't move very fast right now. She's on crutches. But she can really move. And then from an offensive standpoint, I really feel like she can impose her will. She got great footwork, great hands, great IQ, kick it out. Like, I'm really excited about her progression and what she'll bring to our program. Thanks for the question.
Go to left.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, North Carolina Public Radio. Deja Kelly's played pretty well against y'all in the Sweet 16 2 years ago and in November. What makes her a challenging assignment defensively?
She can score. I mean, she can score a variety of ways. She can hit the three ball. You know, her mid range is what she does best. She can get to the basket, and most importantly, she can make you foul her. So she gets to the free throw line. So anytime you have a player like that can score on those three levels, it's hard. And I mean, she's a killer. You know, she wants to win. She's super competitive.
Other questions for Coach Staley? Seeing none?
Champ?
Thank you, Coach.
Ready?
The South Carolina locker room remains open for another 13 minutes, roughly. And North Carolina will be in here at 2:15. Cell phones, please, if you haven't been in here, to put them on mute and silent as North Carolina makes their way in. All right.
Oh, I put my phone near my hotel key. Bummer.
Bad idea.
That poor lady sees me every day.
All right, I think we're ready to begin. Next up is North Carolina Tar Heels. They are now 20-12. They are the number 8 seed in the Albany 1 Regional. They advance to the second round with a 59-56 win over Michigan State. Joined this afternoon by head coach Courtney Banghart and student athletes Deja Kelly and Alyssa Usby. Coach, if you would, please make an opening statement.
Yeah, sure. We're thrilled to be here. I mean, it's hard to win in March, and these guys did it. Beat a very good Michigan State team, had to play excellent defensively, and we did that. Took advantage of some opportunities on offense as well, and had to play through some things, right? We didn't shoot the ball well. We didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line, but we just kept on keeping on. And super thrilled for this opportunity. We know we've got a great opponent in their gym, in a place that really celebrates women's basketball. So, this is a 2-storied program, so we know this means a lot to a lot of people. So certainly glad to be a part of it.
And open up for questions just for the student athletes at this time. Raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Introduce yourself if you would and your affiliate. David.
David Cloninger, Post and Courier, and Deja. Alyssa, what do y'all remember from the game in Chapel Hill? What are a few of the key words that stand out about that matchup?
Alyssa, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I think one of the first ones is competitive. I think South Carolina is a very good team, and they compete really hard, and that's something that we like to do too. I think that's why we're a great matchup for them.
Deja?
Yeah, I think our defense kind of ignited our energy in that game. I think we out-rebounded them, that game. So just from jump, I think the way we came out we matched their intensity, we matched, their aggressiveness. So I think that's what kind of carried us through the game and obviously put a big fire under us too.
The second row.
Hi, Emma Moon with the Daily Tar Heel. For Alyssa and Deja both, when I was talking to Marie yesterday, she described tomorrow's matchup as a revenge game. And how would you assess that energy heading into tomorrow, and how much is revenge a part of it?
Deja, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I think, it's great that Maria said that because, obviously for us it is because we played them in the Sweet 16 2 years ago. So this will be our second time playing them in March. So in that way it is. But, I think the biggest way for us to look at it is just, the next game. I don't want to put a title to it. I don't want to, make it seem bigger than it is, quote unquote. I think, we just have to match, the energy. We have to match the level that it's at, and we know it's March. So we know that we have to bring our best, and that's really what we're focused on.
Alyssa?
Yeah, I would add on to what Deja was saying. I don't think it needs to be any more than just the next game in the March Madness tournament. They're obviously, again, a great team. If we were playing any other team in the round of 32, we would have just as much confidence and competitive energy poured into that matchup.
Let's go to the right.
Yeah, Mitch North on North Carolina Public Radio. For Alyssa and Deja, I assuming you've seen South Carolina on film a little bit since yesterday and got to see them against Presbyterian. Are they different at all from when you saw them in March, and if so, how?
Alyssa, you want to go first?
I think they're pretty similar. I think what makes South Carolina a great team is that they're really good at playing together and making good reads. Then that's where we just got to buckle down on our fundamentals and how we play basketball. And that's typically, we describe that as playing connected, playing with each other, and starting our game strong on the defensive end because we know that carries over to our offensive. So as long as we take care of those principles, I think we have a really great game plan for them.
Deja?
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're pretty similar. We know what their tendencies are. I think they're getting a little more from their bench. But other than that, I think, we have our heads wrapped around kind of then and now.
Let's go to the second row.
Caroline Wills with the DTH. You guys already mentioned this before, but Alyssa and Deja, this is the second time in 3 seasons you're meeting South Carolina with the season on the line. What does that kind of mean to you, and how does it impact your mentality?
Deja.
I think, just kind of what I was saying earlier, you're matching it like it's our next game in March Madness. Obviously it's fun to play a top team like that. They're a really good team, and it's obviously a great matchup, but, so are we. So I think just being able to match it with that intensity and, just being excited for the opportunity. I think that's what us seniors have to do is bring that energy to the locker room and just make sure that's carried through the rest of our teammates, and knowing that this is a great opportunity for us and that we, are fighting to move on. So.
Melissa?
I think that's well said. That's all I got. Not much else to say.
For Alyssa, Dawn Staley described you as a nightmare matchup for her team. What's your reaction to that, and why do you think you match up so well against South Carolina?
I think I match up well in this game because I love to compete, and they also like to do that as well. And any opportunity that I can get an advantage, whether it's a competitive advantage or something X's and O's wise, I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to shy away from it. But yeah, I respect her for saying that.
Pete?
It's a matchup nightmare for a lot of people.
Kind of a similar question here. South Carolina's blown a lot of people out over the last 3 years, and it hasn't been you guys. You guys have played them tough the 2 times you played them in the last 3 seasons. What is it about the challenge of facing a team like that that allows you guys to kind of rise to the challenge of that?
Alyssa?
I think one thing that's special about our group is that we're going to meet the moment. And so whatever that moment calls for, we have so many girls that are willing to step up and fill in those roles. And so I think what makes this an awesome matchup is that neither team is going to back down, and you're going to get a really good fight. And just the result of that on the scoreboard is going to be a close game.
Deja, you want to add?
Yeah, I think that was well said too. I think it's just, we're very competitive. I think we're playing with no fear. We know that it's a great opportunity, a great matchup. So I think we treat it as such, and we match the level of intensity, we match the level of aggressiveness. So I think you've seen that pretty consistent with this matchup over the past couple of years.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Seeing none, y'all can go back to the locker room.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Go Heels.
Go Eels.
We'll take questions now for Coach Banghart. Raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Let's start over here with David.
David Gloniger, Post and Courier. Courtney, what do you remember about the game in Chapel Hill? A lot of fouls. I believe South Carolina's whole front line was in foul trouble in the first half. Just was that a product of your defense? Just how the game was officiated? What do you remember about that, and how do you hope to replicate it?
Just 2 really prideful and competitive teams. And so, part of we know that to handle their interior game is not easy, right? And so we do that a bit by committee. We've got some good length in those spots. I remember Malaysia wasn't playing as much then, right? She's playing better now, or playing more now, so she's added a nice element to their team. We had, we had 3 different point guards in that game play that are not dressed this game, this for tomorrow. So we've got a little bit of a smaller rotation. They've got a little bigger rotation. So there's probably some storyline in there as well. But their place, we knew that if you don't bring your best against the best, they're going to blow you out, right? That's just the nature of what happens in competitive athletics, right? And so, as these guys alluded to, you have to meet things with your best, right? And we have every expectation that they'll continue to do that.
Pete?
Courtney, do you have some kind of super secret special South Carolina plan that's allowed you guys to do what a lot of teams have not been able to do the last few years?
I don't think so. I'm so focused on each team, and I find it intriguing, the uniqueness of every team. And so in preparing for South Carolina, it's totally different than preparing for Michigan State. And so I kind of get really in the weeds on those things. We've fortunately, part of South Carolina's brilliance is how, as these guys have said, how competitive they are across the roster, right? So if you have some weak links competitively, you're going to get blown out. It's just a thing, right? So I think part of it is we've recruited really competitive kids that meet that moment, right? We were able to get out and transition a bit. We were able to run because if they're going to be big, they're not going to be, it's pretty hard to be big and fast, right? So that will be a key part of the game as well. We're going to have to, at their place, or I guess it was in Greensboro 2 years ago, that was a possession game. We just ran, we just took it right to them. So, I think the level of competitiveness is elite. And I think we talk a lot about South Carolina's size and roster and their depth. I don't think people talk enough about how competitive they are, and right through their whole roster. And so fortunately, I think we've got the same type of team.
Let's go in the third round.
Yeah, Courtney. Tiani had a great game
Sure did.
yesterday. Didn't get to play against South Carolina in November, and not in the Sweet 16 and 22 either. With South Carolina's size, like you just mentioned, how important will that post depth and her be for y'all?
Absolutely, and she can run. India only played about 2 minutes in that game as well, and India's started for us yesterday. So we've had to sort of change and evolve, and Tiani wasn't cleared the last time we played them. She missed most of the non-conference with an injury. So her season is upward trajectory, and thankfully the longer the season goes, the more she has an upward trajectory. We expect to need her, and we need her to play well. The physicality of the moment is important that she grasps quickly. And then same thing with India. India was still kind of learning and working through her stuff and her transfer process, and she's not much more confident and settled. So they'll have to have key parts. They'll have to have key roles in the game for sure.
Go in the third row here.
Piggybacking off of that, but how else have you seen this team change since playing South Carolina at the beginning of the season?
We've changed multiple times, right? And so that's part of it. I mean, in the position that's the hardest one to sort of lose is your point guard, right? Because you play to the personality of who has the ball in their hands a lot, right? And Deja's the fourth person we've played there. And so our team has changed dramatically 4 times and had strengths and weaknesses through that. And really proud of them yesterday that they played to their strengths, our own individual strengths. We didn't shoot it well. We didn't take care of some of the special situations well. But, yeah, we're different. I thought we were, Kayla was running the point at that time, so we had a lot of speed. She gets the ball out quickly. And so Alyssa was playing a lot at the 4. Alyssa's playing a lot at the 3 now when we're big. So we're a little bit different, or maybe we're a lot of bit different. But it's the things that we were talking about that really matter when you play South Carolina. You need competitiveness right on down the roster. You need toughness, and you need to play to your strengths up and down the roster. Those things are standards for us. So I'm comfortable with that being our reality.
Other questions for Coach? We'll go back over to the right and Pete.
You said yesterday you were going to take a deeper dive into South Carolina.
Yeah, I've taken it.
Yeah. But what have you seen out of Pow Pow and her ability, her consistency from the outside? It's something South Carolina really hasn't always had at times during this run.
She's shooting almost 65% off the dribble behind ball screens. The best in the country, right? If she shot more, she'd score more, right? She's a highly efficient shooter. I don't know what her actual percentages are because we kind of get in the weeds on where those are coming from. And when you're talking ball screen, shooting behind ball screens, that kid is lights out, right? And has been all year long against high-level competition. She picks her spots, so she fits into them because they want to play an interior offense, and she's willing to do that, right? And yet, if you spend too much time worrying about the inside, then she's also going to catch and shoot. So she's just a key part of their. It was a key add for them and makes them super hard to guard. And her playing well in that second half is kind of what, especially in that fourth quarter there at our place, kind of broke our back a bit. Really good player, super experienced, and she does it so effortlessly. You wonder if she's playing hard, and then when you watch the film back, she's playing hard. She just looks effortless.
Let's go back over to the right, or left rather.
Coach, you mentioned yesterday that it's common in this part of the season to really be battling with fatigue, especially for you guys having a limited bench rotation. How are you hoping the team will kind of cope with that tomorrow, and what are you kind of telling them to get them through that?
I told them I'd call a timeout with about 4 minutes into the third quarter, so that they got that long timeout followed by the other long timeout. Told them to, pull on their shirt and tell me when they have to come out. I was not expecting Maria and Alyssa to do it at the same time. That was a bummer. But you saw the pace of play in the first half versus the second half for us. It's hard to ask them to play at that pace for 40 minutes, and I'd love to sit up here and tell you we can do it, but it's really hard to do. It's a physical game too, right? And so their deep bench gives them a higher margin of error for sure. Our not deep bench gives us a much smaller margin of error, right? But that's why you throw the ball out, right? You don't win games on stat sheets. You win games on how you play inside the lines, right? And so we'll have to understand. We know who we are. We've got a small margin of error. So our pieces that are in have to play really well, and they have to play hard, and we have to play through some things. Fatigue and foul trouble and things are a part of what we are, is the hand we're dealt right now. But we've won a whole lot of basketball games against really, really good teams being who we are. So we're just going to keep doing that.
Go back to Pete one more time.
Courtney, I mean, everybody has to be seeded somewhere.
Yeah.
Right, in this tournament. Do you like facing somebody you already faced? I mean, if you guys advance, you know, Notre Dame's going to be in Albany too, or,
Yeah.
you know, playing to be in Albany. You've seen them before. Do you like those kind of rematches in the postseason at tournament time?
I think the ACC, you sign on for that because there's so many good teams in the ACC, and so you can't. I would imagine most champions have had to play a conference team if you're in a power conference at least once in their journey. I don't love it for the first 2 rounds because there's so many good teams out there, right? And so to have an opportunity, I know Duke played Richmond. They already played them this year, you know, and like you kind of want to play teams that you don't schedule a ton or and there's enough good teams that you could do that. So I'm thrilled to be playing South Carolina because I have a lot of respect for their program and it's close for our fans to get to and all of that. But from a pure basketball standpoint, I think it was a miss. I think for us to have an opportunity to play a Tennessee or I don't know who else is on what seed lines or whatnot, but we played this game in November. This game has been played, right? And, you know, I don't know if we hadn't played Iowa yet, you know, that would have been neat. Yeah, we haven't played UCLA, we scrimmaged them, or we haven't played USC, you know. So I don't know if it's for a storyline or I don't know. But yeah, I find it. I don't think it's great for the game. Like we schedule this game. I could schedule this next year too, right? It's a little harder for me to go schedule USC. It's hard to get to, right? So I would think most coaches are going to want to play different opponents than they schedule. And then when you get to past the Sweet 16, it's hard to do that because it depends on who beats who.
So you guys are going to play South Carolina next year?
I don't know. The SEC Challenge did it this past year. We scrimmaged them each of the last 2 years. So I don't know. Not sure. That's partly my job, but not today. Not today. I'm not gonna worry about that today.
Any other questions for Coach? Good.
Cool.
All right, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Have a good day.
Oh, Chris, thanks.